What is OpenAI about to launch? A judge has ruled that data scraping on public social media sites may not be infringing on copyright. Waymo hits a milestone in the number of driverless taxi rides. And what if car batteries could be made from wastewater? All this and more on the Surprise Achievements edition of #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Listeners who pick up the podcast later in the day may already know the answer to this, but we should all be watching to finally get the answer to the question that's been buzzing around over the past weeks. What is OpenAI going to unveil today at 1 p.m. Pacific time on their website? We know what it's not going to be. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, in the midst of pronouncements that it would in any other universe, by any other CEO, be huge stories by themselves, has also been clear about what OpenAI will not launch. He's talked about OpenAI entering the search market. He's talked about launching a new version of OpenAI that will make GPT-4 seem primitive by comparison. He's talked about spending whatever it takes to get artificial general intelligence. He's talked about a basic minimum income, where everyone would earn a slice of the value created by AI. But what he's clearly said is none of this will be in his next announcement. So what could it be? Best rumors are that it will involve an advance on what everyone is calling multimodal AI. According to a report from The Information, the artificial intelligence research company has been showing off a multimodal AI model to some customers. This means that AI wouldn't just comprehend text, but could also interpret images, recognize objects, transcribe audio, and even detect nuances like sarcasm in someone's voice. Their sources say this multimodal AI assistant demonstrates faster and more accurate capabilities across vision and speech than OpenAI's existing separate models for those tasks. As I said, this could be a huge advance. This could, for instance, enable new AI assistants that can see, hear, and understand the world in completely new ways. There are dozens of use cases. For instance, it could help customer service reps better gauge callers' tones and intent, assist students with math problems by visually recognizing equations, or even translating real-world signs and texts it perceives through a camera. There are also rumors, some say that they've seen these in the code, that OpenAI may integrate the ability for this assistant to actually make phone calls through ChatGPT's interface. This may seem simple, but it would represent a significant leap beyond today's AI assistants, which are often limited to text conversations. Comprehending the full context of situations through sight and sounds opens up new potential applications across multiple industries. AI will still be susceptible to making confident mistakes, but although there's been a lot of improvement, the real question is, does it make fewer mistakes than humans? We seem to forget when we talk about AI that there is no technology and no business process that's perfect anywhere in the world. However, OpenAI has explicitly said that what they plan to unveil in a live stream on Monday is not their long-awaited GPT-5 model, which CEO Sam Altman claims will be materially better than GPT-4 when it arrives, potentially by year-end. But whatever it is, I'm curious enough to be there. Here's a story with some real long-term implications that might not seem obvious. A federal judge in California dismissed a lawsuit against the data mining firm Bright Data regarding data scraping practices. Elon Musk's social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, had accused the Israeli company of unlawfully scraping and reselling public data from its platform using sophisticated methods to bypass anti-scraping measures. X alleged this violated its terms of service and copyrights, and they were seeking over $1 million in damages. However, in his ruling, Judge William Alsup determined that publicly available online data essentially belongs to the public at large, and that giving platforms like X full control over its collection and usage risks the possible creation of information monopolies that would disserve the public interest. Alsup also pointed out that X seemed willing to allow data extraction as long as it was paid for it, rather than actually aiming to protect user privacy. He said the company wants to have it both ways as well, maintaining legal liability protection while also trying to license public web data like a copyright holder. Listeners might know that social media companies have taken advantage of a legal loophole that doesn't hold them accountable for what they publish. They claim they are conduits of information posted by others, not journalists or publishers who could, as Fox News found out, have substantial liability. There's freedom of the press, but it's not absolute. The decision represents a victory for Bright Data and its stance that information openly visible online without logins belongs to everyone and cannot be restricted by platforms looking to monetize it. Meta previously brought a similar unsuccessful lawsuit against Bright Data over its data scraping activities as well. The rulings reinforced the legality of extracting publicly available internet data for legitimate purposes like training AI models or conducting research, as long as proper measures are taken. The boundaries around appropriate web scraping practices are not totally clear, but this does seem to permit a lot more access to public data than any of these large social media giants might be comfortable with. And it may open the way for greater access by large language models trained on internet datasets. Something tells me this isn't the last we're going to hear of this issue. The race to bring self-driving taxis into the mainstream reached a new milestone this week as Waymo announced its robot taxis are now completing over 50,000 paid rides every week across its service areas. The Alphabet-owned autonomous vehicle subsidiary has been steadily expanding its Waymo one-ride hailing operations in Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, where driverless cars now shuttle people around the clock. By hitting the 50,000 weekly ride mark, that translates to an average of roughly 300 bookings per hour or 5 hailed robotaxi trips every single minute across these 3 cities combined. Now, to put this into perspective, the average number of taxi rides in New York is something around 500,000 per day. But that also points out how much is at stake in terms of potential returns for driverless taxis. In fact, Waymo is crediting its safe and deliberate approach, gradually scaling up operations, as the driving factor, no pun intended, behind this achievement. The company says it's seeing riders from all walks of life turn to its driverless service for everything from daily commutes to running errands hands-free. In a tweet announcing the ridership stats, Waymo emphasized the fully autonomous ride-hailing is a reality and a preferred mobility option for many navigating urban areas. The milestone represents a vote of confidence from the public putting their faith in Waymo's technology. Though not without its share of problems like robot taxis stopping on freeways or incorrectly predicting traffic situations leading to collisions, Waymo appears to be pulling ahead of rivals like Cruise in deploying truly driverless ride-hailing at a large scale, though Cruise recently restarted its operations after addressing safety concerns. With over 1 million autonomous rides completed, Waymo signaled its intent to forge ahead towards a future where hailing a self-driving car becomes as ubiquitous as tapping a ride-sharing app today. It remains to be seen if the public's comfort and demand can keep pace, but 50,000 paid rides a week shows the pivot to driverless mobility is no longer just theoretical. And the University of Pittsburgh has put out a report that claims that nearly half of the United States lithium supply could potentially be sourced from Pennsylvania's wastewater. The finding leverages compliance data from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, which suggests that lithium extracted from wastewater of Marcellus shale gas wells could meet up to 40% of the national demand. Lithium is a critical element in the manufacture of batteries for electric cars and other key uses. The current global supply chain for lithium involves extraction from Chilean brine ponds and processing in China. Now, given the growth in electric cars, the competition with and tension with China, domestic lithium production is a priority for U.S. energy independence and security. So researchers, including Justin Mackey of the National Energy Technology Laboratory and his PhD advisor Daniel Bain from the University of Pittsburgh, have developed a method to extract lithium from water with more than 90% efficiency. The method utilizes the wastewater generated from hydraulic fracking, which is known to accumulate minerals and elements from shale. The research was published in the journal Scientific Reports, and it capitalized on detailed regulatory data that required companies to report lithium levels in wastewater from each well pad. Hey, who says that regulation is always an inhibitor to innovation? This extensive data collection enabled the researchers to conduct a comprehensive regional analysis highlighting the untapped potential of this lithium source. The next steps for this initiative include assessing the environmental impacts of lithium extraction from wastewater and setting up a pilot facility to refine the extraction process. As the U.S. aims to meet its critical mineral needs domestically by 2030, this discovery not only offers a sustainable alternative to traditional mining, but also proposes a beneficial use for wastewater, transforming an environmental burden into a valuable resource. And that's our show for today. Show notes are posted at our new home at technewsday.com or .ca. Either works, and you can even play the latest show or past episodes on our homepage. We're also on YouTube with our experimental video show, getting ready for bigger and better video over the summer. We love your comments and suggestions. You can reach us at editorial@technewsday.ca. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a marvelous Monday.